Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be showing you how to cut a shoulder bustier. I'll be showing you step by step on how to cut a shoulder bustier. So for this tutorial, I will need my body. I will need this Ankara fabric. This is the Ankara fabric we are going to be using for this shoulder bustier top. It's a shoulder bustier skirt and blouse. And I will need my lining. This is my lining. And at the same time, I will need this stay. I will need this paper stay rather. I will need this paper stay as well. So after that, for this tutorial, we will need our brown paper. We need our brown paper as well as our scissors, my mark. We will need the scissors. I will need my marker and so on and so forth. So without wasting much of our time, let's get into the tutorial right now. So first thing we are going to do now is to fold our brown paper into two as shown. You need to fold your brown paper into two, just like this one that you are watching right now. You are going to fold the paper. So after folding the paper, how are you going to know how much paper you are going to fold? It's very simple. You are going to use your hip measurement divided by 4. So like I was saying, you are going to use your hip measurement divided by 4 plus 4 or 5 inch as extra, because the top is going to have a kind of shape like this. You understand? So that's why I have to add 5 or 4 inch to the front piece. So to the back piece, if you use 5 inch as extra, for the front piece you are going to use 6 inch. You are going to use 6 inch for the back piece because of zip allowance. So that is how you are going to know, in case if you are cutting it directly on your fabric, so you know how much you are going to fold. Sure you get. So that is that about how to fold your. So that is how to know about how to fold your paper and your distance. So that is that about how to know how to fold your paper, like I just said. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to first mark my margin line. This margin line is going to be where I'm going to start all the measurements. So I'm going to start all my measurement from this margin line that I just mark out just now. So first thing I'm going to do was to measure out the length measurement, the top length measurement. So the top length measurement we are working with today is the length of 22. The top length is the top length of 22. So I'm going to go ahead and rule that out. So after I'm done ruling that out, I'll go ahead and rule out the bust points, the under bust, and the half length as well. The bust points, the half length, and the under bust, I'm going to rule it out. So after ruling it out, then we will now move to the next procedure. We'll move to the next thing that we're going to do. So for us to be clear, I'm going to label it out. So I'll label the bust points, the under bust, the half length, and the full length, so that it will make it easy for us to know which line we are working with. So since we are done with this, let me tell you something. Shoulder bustier is very, very simple. Like, it's the simplest of all this bustier. It's so simple and it always come out so fine. So the next thing I'm going to do now is to measure out the shoulder measurement. What is our shoulder? Our shoulder is 14. 14 divided by 2 will give us 7. So I'm going to go ahead and mark the shoulder measurement plus half-inch sewing allowance. Can you see that? So anything I use for my shoulder, that is what I always use for my armhole circumference. Anything I use for my shoulder, except if the dress is an armless dress, then I'm not going to use 7.5 for my armhole circumference. I'm going to use 7, so that the armhole will not be too big. So at this exact place, I'm going to mark out the same 7.5. Then I'll go ahead and rule it out. Can you see that? So after ruling it out, the next thing we are going to do is to get the half of we are going to get the half of this. So just fold your tape measurement into 2 as shown, then just mark it out like this. So after marking it out, we are going to go ahead 7.5. If you can just do your 7.5 divided by 2, you can just do it. But if you know it's going to give you problem, just fold your tape measurement into 2. Then come in with half of an inch at this exact place. Just come in with half of an inch. If you don't have French curve, you can just use your hand to do this. You can just use your hand to connect the armhole circumference like this. If you don't have your French curve, but if you have your French curve, you can just make do with this. Can you see? So after you are done with this, the next thing we are going to do now is to start taking all the necessary measurements. So what is the person nipple to nipple? Our nipple to nipple is 7.5. 7.5 divided by 2 plus half of an inch as sewing allowance. That is what I'm marking here. The person bust nipple to nipple, rather, not bust points. The person nipple to nipple divided by 2 plus half of an inch sewing allowance. So you are going to rule it from the bust point to your full length, just like you see me doing in this video. That is what you are going to do. So after you are done getting your nipple to nipple, at the half length area, come in with 1 inch. At this here, come in with 1 inch as well. At the bust, on the bust, come in with 1 inch on both sides. Come in with 1 inch on both sides. So after you are done with that, you are going to go ahead and connect just connect it as shown. Can you see? Then you are going to go ahead and connect it to the down part as shown, just the way you see me doing in this video. Follow the procedure when you want to make your own. So that is that about this one. Now the next thing we are going to do now is to use our French curve just to connect from the under bust to your bust point area. Just the way you see me doing in this video. On both sides, use your French curve and just connect it as shown. So after you are done with this, the next thing you are going to do now is to come to the shoulder area. Come to the shoulder area and measure your nipple to nipple at this place as well. Measure out your nipple to nipple, what we use at this point. You are going to go ahead and measure it at the shoulder area as well. Just measure it and connect it. You are going to connect it back to your bust point. You are going to connect a straight line back to your bust point. So at this point, you are going to come in with 1 inch. At this point, you are going to come in with ½ inch and quarter. You can use 1 inch at the same time. You can decide to use 1 inch or ½ inch and quarter. Then just the way we do the other time, just place your French curve as shown and connect it like this. Just the way you see me doing in this video. just connect it back as shown. Can you see the way I connect it? So you are going to repeat the same thing for this side as well. Just make sure that you place your French cuff in any way that it's going to connect to each other very well. So after you are done connecting it now, we are almost done. Oh, we are almost done with our shoulder bustier. Just like I said, that shoulder bustier is very, very simple. So what we are going to do now, is that this 1.5 and quarter that we remove here, we are going to return it back at the shoulder and like this. You are going to return it back because if you don't return it back, at the end of the day, the shoulder will be shorter. So you are going to do another straight line. The reason why I do it in this video is so that you will be able to understand it. But normally, if I'm to do it without this tutorial, I will just cut it straight up. I will not do this one first. But for us to be clear, that's why I first do the shoulder line. So you are going to cancel this. We don't need this one. That's why I cancel it. So that is that about the shoulder parts. So after we are done with this, the next thing we are going to do now is to take our bust measurement plus 2-inch sewing allowance, our waist measurement plus 2-inch sewing allowance, plus the 2-inch will remove at the half length area and the under bust. You are going to return it back. So I'm just trying to blend this place. Then I'll take the bust measurement plus 2-inch sewing allowance. You don't need to add anything to the bust measurement apart from your 2-inch sewing allowance. Then the waist measurement, you are going to add the 2-inch that we removed the other time. You are going to add it back. So I'm going to connect this now. Just watch, I'm going to connect it. Then I'm going to connect this as well. I'll connect this as well. This is for the sewing allowance, right? This is the sewing allowance. So now back to the down part of your top. For the down part of the top, I'm going to use the hip measurement. My hip measurement is 36. 36 divided by 4 will give me 9 plus 5-inch. I had 5-inch because I want the top. So plus 5-inch. Anyway, you will see the finished outcome of the top. Then I use my French cuff to connect the down part of the top like this. Just use your French cuff because I don't want the down part to be straight. So now another thing is that at the down part of the top, I'm going to add 2.5-inch because I don't had any allowance before for sewing allowance. Then I will come up here with 4-inch. I had 2.5 at that place, then here 4-inch coming up. Then I'll use my French cuff to connect these together. Let me say it again. At the center part, I come down with 2.5. Then at the side, I come up with 4-inch. Then I just connect it as shown. Can you see that? So before we start to cut it out, what I always do is that for the neckline of my shoulder bustier, when on the pattern paper, I don't use to cut anything for the neckline. I'll leave my neckline like that. After joining it together on the fabric, I'll now go ahead and cut any kind of neckline I want to cut. I hope you understand. I will show you guys anyway, but in the sewing tutorial, what I mean by this. So at the down part here, so you are going to connect it like this because this thing needs to reach the down part, and this is for the down part of the top apart from the sewing allowance. So I have to just so that you'll be able to understand what I did. So I will start cutting it out as shown, one after the other. I'll start to cut it out. Just watch how I'm going to cut it out so that by the time you want to make your own, you will not do any mistake. Watch where I'll be cutting out on this. you can just cut this out as well on your fabric. You can decide to cut it just straight down on your fabric, but cutting it this way, it will help you to manage your fabric. That is the only thing I see in this. When you cut it out on your pattern paper, it will help you to manage your fabric. Here, this this brown paper is, because this one now I use one sheet of pattern paper to cut this out. I use one sheet of the brown paper to cut the front piece. Then if I'm to cut, then for the shoulder loop, don't forget, for the shoulder loop, I've not do the shoulder loop, so I just use chalk to do my shoulder loop. So like I was saying before, for your brown paper, you are going to use, if you are going to be using brown paper to cut the back piece as well, then you'll be using 2 brown paper for your top. 2 brown paper for your top. But for the back piece of this dress, I'm not going to be using brown paper. I'll be cutting it direct on the fabric. I'll just cut it directly on the fabric. That is for the back piece. So this is what I have after cutting it out. This is what I have. Don't mind the down part. I use sellotape to add to the length of the paper. So that's why I have this. So this is what I have at the end of the day. Can you see? So now I'm going to use pin to just pin it for you to see how it's going to look like when we are done sewing it together. So I just want to use pin to pin it so that you will see how it's going to look like when I'm done sewing it. This is just to show you. So this is how you are going to join it by the time I had my body. And so like I was saying, this is how you are going to sew it till down. Can you see? This is it. So I'm going to pin the other side as well. So after doing it like this, I'm going to go ahead now and go and cut it out on the main fabric. I'm going to go ahead now and cut it out on the main fabric. Another thing, I said it when we were drafting. I said I don't used to cut the neckline when I'm doing it like this. No, I'm not going to cut the neckline now. I'll be cutting the neckline directly on the fabric. And this is it on the fabric right now. I'm just trying to cut the neckline out. We are just going to cut out the neckline like this. Mo fẹ́ lọ wẹ̀ now. Kí ló dé tí fóònù yìí sì báyìí? I want to cook tonight, yo. So guys, after I'm done cutting it like this, I'm going to go ahead and cut the lining as well. I will cut the lining. I will cut the paper stay with it. Then I'll be doing another tutorial on the back piece. So it's going to be the part 2 of the cutting of this top. So see you guys in the part 2 of the cutting tutorial. God bless you. Bye.